Hello all, and welcome to another exciting episode of Matt from Olympus Reptiles Cuts Eggs. Before we get started, quick shout out to our sponsors for these awesome ass racks. That was TGR racks, and cue the intro music and show the emblem, and now we're all good. Alright, while we get people signed on, of course we're going to clean and disinfect the table that I literally just cleaned and disinfected yesterday when we cut eggs. Right?
Yep.
Now let me share the pairing information with you while we're getting logged on here. This is a pairing that I've done every year that I started breeding. This was actually one of the very first pairings I ever did. Actually, the very first eggs I ever produced. If you heard me tell about my story of my first clutch that went completely bad, this was the exact same clutch. Watch out, while I throw this away, dear. Hey, I made it cool. This was the exact same clutch. It's a pastel to a bumblebee. So I've also repeated that pairing every time, every year. And in all that time, I've only ever hatched one killer bee. And that's, of course, when you have the pastel to a bumblebee. That would be the cream of the crop, is a killer bee. But, even though they haven't been very good at producing that, they have been very good at producing high numbers of eggs, healthy babies, and bumblebees. What we have for you today is 10 eggs. So we're going to cut 10 eggs and see what we get. Let's get this party rocking.
All right.
How's our internet doing today? Anybody say anything about how it's looking?
Yeah, no.
Everybody saying it's fine. Right there is a good way to start. And if you look at these two, I think we'll probably never see them around the head. I can't tell it's out. But it's obviously a good look. So you've got two that have pipped there. You can see how this guy has obviously pipped too, so we'll go ahead and just kind of connect a few of these up. Look at that. That is the head of a super pastel right there. Pretty certain anyway it's going to be a super. You can see how white it is. Again, we'll old Q-tip. So far, obviously don't want to speak too early. The odds are looking.
People are now saying that it's not working.
What I am going to make, well,
because now it's coming in like bad router, can't see.
We're not on the router. We're on the. We'll never get back on the iPhone. It is not the. I promise you that is because we are trying to do this off the LTE because the rep have two different channels. Because it has been kind of sucking as of late. So I would not run on anything iPhone. And again, it's a very important reason because if we did that, there it's connected to Wi-Fi. Let me know if that clears things up. And so it should be coming back on here now. The reason we don't do that pre-recorded and then put it up there is because, let me know if that's filming better. If we do that, then it's not. The reason we do it live is so that there's no secrets. You know you're going to see when we hit good odds and babies, we hit all that. You're going to see all that. So you're never going to have the, only seeing the good and the whatnot. So we do that for that purpose. It's not even really about showing the babies. Because again, sometimes, like on the snake right here, you're going to miss the odds, right? And so we want to share that both.
Here, it's so good.
Go and plug that router again, dear. We're going to try to reset that thing and see if that doesn't fix it. So, well, is it blurry or is it pixelating? Because blurry could be just... And it's going to freeze up now because we're trying to change channels. You know what I mean? The live streams have been just kind of a pain in the ass lately. Let me flip this around. So, and the reason they've been a pain in the ass lately is just something to do with the Wi-Fi. So you probably need to put in a call to the company and say, what the hell? You know what I mean? So that's kind of what's going on. So we're waiting until we get that kind of fixed and go from there. I know. We're working on it, and I think the issue is mostly going to be our Wi-Fi company. And the reason it's doing good now is we just completely went back to the LTE network. But yet the LTE network hasn't proven to have been stable. The problem is the Wi-Fi has two channels. One of them runs at about 80 megabits a second. The other one runs about 5 megabits a second. And it's only connecting to the one that runs 5. The one that runs 80 is in and out, in and out, in and out, and screwing some crap up. So, that's the problem. And as far as what it's connecting to now, it's because I'll tell you what, we'll just turn the Wi-Fi completely off. That way it won't try to connect on and in and out of there, and I'll call and scream at them a little bit later. So, yeah, it's all Question Girl's fault. It probably is, All right, let me flip this around. And it's not the 80 megabits a second. It's actually running on the LTE. That's the problem, is it's not, for whatever reason, connecting 80 megabits a second. What to focus on. So, what we've done so far is one super pastel right there. We think one spider, and then that's it, one normal. And then the rest of them we haven't cut yet. This one's also self-pipped. So we'll go ahead and open it a little further. Oh, this one looks good. That one, there's his little face. Appears to be, I can't see the head all the way, but at least a bumblebee. Really good. And you have to not mind me sniffling so much. We're still fighting allergies. They're actually improving since we've been home, but yeah. No, not to Wi-Fi. It's because you hit something.
No.
Here, when we get some fucktard on there like that guy, we'll just do this. Boom. And there you go. Problem solved. And the reptile community apparently has somebody who just makes shit up for trolling purposes lately. I don't know who it is. I don't really give two shits. But no, I won't. That'll be nice. I'll be nice. And all trolls typically are people that wish they were you. Alright, and there we got another bumblebee. I think probably just a bumblebee. The amount of color tends to give it away that it's just a BL. Oh, this is an interesting egg to cut. Basically, I can feel the baby's face right there, so I'm going to be really careful getting into there. And that one looks to be a pastel. So, what we know, and again, those damn allergies, we have one pastel, I believe 2 spiders, a normal, a couple bees, and 1 super pastel. And then we're going to open these up a little further. And take a peek in there. And the hope is that that one there, when it crawls out, very well could be a killer bee. So I do think we have a 1 killer bee in here. Let's see a little more on this one. And this one you can see is not as blush. I think we have just a bumblebee there. But I think what we're going to end up with is 1 killer, several straight up bees, and a couple spiders, 1 super pastel, 1 pastel, and 1 out of 10 we got 1 normal. I can certainly deal with those odds. So that's kind of what we're looking at there. And I will also be calling my Wi-Fi company and yelling and screaming at them that their shit is not working well. It may also be an overage of use based on the number of things we have connected to us. We may have to switch some things over to our smaller network and then save this for the bigger network. All right, any questions before we're done with all this?
Yeah. Will you show me how to remove somebody from the thread so that I can do it?
Oh, yeah. Who's on there now?
Okay, somebody named Nick Rolf or Nick Ralph, and he's screwing up the thread. And I don't know how to
Where's he at?
Well,
Oh, right there?
Yeah, and
What else is he doing?
he keeps interrupting me,
Oh,
and people have...
this is the same, person who's just makes new things and tries to, that's all you gotta do right there, and tries to be a troll because they have no life. They're probably like 4 and in their mom's basement. Actually, they're probably not 4. They're probably in their mom's basement looking at things that are 4 years old. Should probably be in prison and have no reason to exist upon this earth other than to be annoying to people. Here's the thing for anybody else that does this. As your channel grows, whether it's big or small, you're going to come across these kind of idiots from time to time. And you just have to remember that they're insignificant in the world. They don't matter. I mean, if that person dies tomorrow, hardly anybody's going to care. Nobody in this community would give a shit. Nobody here would ever meet them. And I'm sure they have loved ones that would, but their existence is so crappy that all they can try to do is go and annoy other people because they've got nothing better to do in life and probably nothing better than that to live for. So my challenge to them would be to go out, find a hobby, get a job, maybe make a difference in their community other than being just a dipshit and, help the world. Unfortunately, most of them don't figure that out and just live to try to do that. So don't let those people get you down. You got to remember that not everybody's as fortunate as most of us, and some people simply exist to be retarded, which I probably shouldn't use the word retarded, but just exist to be a pain in everybody's ass because they really have nothing to look forward to and nothing of their own. So hopefully they get it figured out and, be productive, but I'm not going to hold my breath. All right, any actual real questions?
Yeah. First, shout out to Hunter, who's getting his first ball python tomorrow.
Excellent. That's awesome.
And then, when's your next clutch going to be ready?
Ready as in what? To cut or or do what? Specify ready. If you mean ready for cut or ready for sale, we actually have a few now that are going to be coming ready for sale very, very soon. They are on a few meals. We got 2 clutches that are fully out of the egg, but not all of them are eating yet. When they do become ready, obviously we're going to put them on Patreon first, and if they clear Patreon, then they'll be available to the general public. But they're going to hit Patreon first, and that should be happening very soon. And then, of course, Clutch 3, and then this Clutch 4, and then Clutch 5 will be cutting later on in about 6 days, most likely, when it starts to pip. We'll also all hit Patreon first. So,
all right. Thanks for all the congratulations from everyone in regards to our nuptials on this past Sunday.
Absolutely.
And I'm not really seeing ready for sale that aren't going straight to Patreon subscribers.
Well, here's the way that works. I don't know. And what I mean by I don't know is let's say this clutch was out of the egg and that we're all eating. I was confident they're all going to be fine. Then we put them on pre-sale to Patreon. And Patreon may buy none of them. Patreon may buy all of them. I don't have control over that. But I do have a promise to keep that they'll go to Patreon first. If Patreon, say, buys 3 of them, then the other 7 will hit sale to the general public. If Patreon buys all 10, then none of them will hit sale to the general public. So they have that chance of first refusal. They basically get the second bite at the apple of anybody. The first bite at the apple is obviously us picking our holdbacks. So we pick our holdbacks, then goes to Patreon, and then it starts going to shows and general sale. So that is how that works. So as far as which ones and when, I don't know, because we'll also hold a certain number hold back. That will be Patreon specials for special sales like reverse auctions and special massive discounts. That will be Patreon only. So those things are benefits for that subscription. And I know some people don't like that, but we're basically trying to do things a little different than everybody else. And my challenge would be if you don't like that, and you want to have that chance first or be a part of those sales, those subscriptions start at $5. And I know $5 is a lot of money for some people. I get that. I mean, you're talking $5 a month. But, if you're going to take care of a ball python and you're wanting to get something from us on the higher end or get a chance to play and to get some of those specials, the only way we can offer that is by, offer those great discounts is by offsetting that. It also guarantees us a set amount of income to run this place every month without having to worry about being hand to mouth on our reptile collection. It's what paid for the expansion of the room. It's what's paying for the expansion of my dwarf caiman cage. It's what's paying for all of those things. It's what paid for our camera equipment, obviously not our cell phones, but our normal filming camera equipment. It's what really runs this show. So it would be hard for us to walk away from that, and we won't walk away from that.
Yeah.
We'll honor those deals.
So what's the window for Patreon claims?
For Patreon claims, it's going to be the minimum of 2 weeks. They'll be available on Patreon only. So that way, Patreon members get at least 2 weeks to do that. And once that's done, then I'll post them usually on my Facebook, or we'll start taking them to shows. In that window, if I own multiple,
pretty much. But we're not going to even give them the time of day because we have other questions coming in.
It's just
so how many months is the $1 Patreon trial?
It's not a set number of months. You could do a $1 Patreon subscription for as long as you wanted. Now, the $1 subscription, though, does not come with the right to pre-order, and it does not come with the right to be involved in the special sales. It gets part of the content. It's more of a trial membership to see what we do, see how much we post, because we're more active than most people on Patreon. So it's just kind of a way to see what it's about. And then to really start getting those benefits, it starts at the $5 level. And, of course, there's more and more benefits as you move up through the levels. So that's kind of how it works. And also to do that, to protect people who are on Patreon, one of the other things we did instill is that, let's say you sign up for Patreon today, it doesn't charge until like the first of the month. So we've already passed the 1st of June. You're not able to do one of the sales or pre-orders until you've paid 1 month subscription. And the reason I did that is because otherwise what will happen is people will come in, do a pre-order, get their snake, and then leave without ever contributing to the community. And that's not fair to people who do.
From Exotic Luck, haters be gone!
Haters be gone. You know what? If you ain't got haters, you ain't doing something right. I'm going to make haters. I'm going to make more of them. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mind, because if they're hating me, it's because most of the time when people hate you, they hate your success. So to look at somebody who's being successful, and I'm not trying to say I'm super successful, so don't take that wrong. I mean, we're pretty small potatoes. But, we've worked hard to get to be this small of a potato. But you can either try to rip them down to catch up to them, or you can work your ass off to catch up to them. Obviously, human beings, they just try to spread and share that misery. But the simple fact is that they're like significant in the road, and sometimes it's going to be rough getting there, but you'll get there. How you be, and the rough spots that I've hit, and it's the things that didn't go well. Then when they finally do, and you're like, yeah, you nailed it. That's what makes it so valuable. If it was easy, everybody would do it, and everybody would be successful at it. And but a lot of people don't, because they give up. But you just gotta keep going through. It looks like you're looking for something, dude.
Yeah, it went offline for about 2 minutes while you were talking, and then it was able to reconnect.
Stupid LTE network, but you just gotta keep going through. It looks like you're looking for something, dude.
Yeah, it went offline for about 2 minutes while you were talking, and then it was able to reconnect.
I hate the LTE network, but that's yeah. Oh. Well, I don't think the troll is down in the network. We actually had the app crash, so the YouTube app crashed on the phone after I said I like Droid. Anyway, it should be, we had to close the app and bring it back. But that was my whole 2-minute speech. You probably missed part of it, and that's fine. Anyway, any other actual questions before we get off here and slide over to Patreon? What?
Well, I'm trying to read questions now that they've been flying in.
Yes.
So, love the look of Lucy's, but I've never owned a snake before. Should I get a normal or just jump on to get a Lucy?
You know what? That's going to be for you to decide.
And congrats, Brendalyn. I'm so excited that you ordered your first TGR rack. You're going to love it.
Here's a Lucy with a dirty head at the moment. That actually kind of just dirty in general. She's about to go in the shed. But I like Lucy's. I'm a big fan of Lucy's, and you can do Lucy's in a few different ways. If you go straight to a Lucy, just in case you ever decide to breed, make sure and know the genetics, because there's so many things in the complex that make a Lucy. So you want to know, is it Mojave, Leicester Mojave, you know, what else in it. Now, Carol...
You know what, Wayne? We would gladly accept any GoFundMe donations you want to give for a better Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah. Well, you know, and this today, maybe it wasn't, because the YouTube app literally, like, completely locked up. Our screen went black, and it completely quit responding, and the app crashed. So I don't know if it was the Wi-Fi, actually. I think it probably was. But now we're actually on the good Wi-Fi radio network, and the app seems to be working. So, yay. But the care for a normal and for a bell is the exact same. You don't do anything different in the care. So it depends on how comfortable your care is. I mean, if you're comfortable caring for a snake, you could get a bell just as easy as a normal. And the investment monetarily, yes, is more for a bell, but long term it really isn't going to be that big of a difference. When you start adding up, you know, electricity and food and everything else for the 15 years to 20 years that snake's going to live, then the initial difference in purchase price is a very small portion of the total cost of owning it. So I would say, within reason, get what you want. You know, that's just me. Now, obviously, if you're going to go buy a full scaleless whatever that's going to cost you $20,000, that's a little different. But in this case, I would say you're fine getting a bell if you want one. Any other questions?
That's about it.
All right, guys. Sorry the live stream was being a pain in the ass for 2 times in a row. We have tried resetting the router. We might try relocating the router. Actually, I will probably give them a phone call because it worked fine before. We haven't moved anything. We haven't changed. The only thing I can think of that we've done different before we started having some issues and to where we are now is we added some more smart equipment in the home. So it may be as simple as going through and making sure all my smart equipment is connecting to one Wi-Fi radio and my phone can connect to another. We may be overloading the circuit. So anyway, all right, guys. We're going to slide over to Patreon. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you hopefully in about a week when we get to cut more eggs. Yay!